I'm Courtney Broder, and this is The Beauty Formula, your go-to podcast for beauty, skincare, and unfiltered girl talk. Let's get into it. All right, today we are here with Brian Bernier, who is an expert in behind-the-scenes aesthetics industry. He's worked for injectables, lasers, skincare, pretty much all the aspects of aesthetics. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Thank you for coming back on.
Sure.
So we recorded a couple years ago an episode on men's aesthetics, which, like I said, we're going to get back into because it's one of our most popular episodes, and the industry has updated. So thanks for coming on.
Of course. It's good to be back.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Sure. So in the last 10 years, a little over 10 years now, I've worked, as you said, in the aesthetic space. I've worked for large companies like Allergan, who manufactures Botox, always in sales. I worked for a company called MERS, who manufactures Radiesse, which is a filler, as well as Ultherapy and Xeomin, which is a neurotoxin similar to Botox. Now I work for a South Korean brand. We sell skincare, we sell exosomes, which is basically in the regenerative aesthetic space topically, and then they also have Latibo, which is the newest Botox to come to the market, and it's the number one selling Botox in South Korea. So always have been in sales aspect, calling on medical spas, dermatology offices, and plastic surgery offices. All of those products have sold and helped offices bring on and market to their patients.
And then I remember when I was getting out of the industry, you started working like in Cool Sculpting, right?
Yes, I sold Cool Sculpting for a few years, which was the company that
Allergan.
manufactures that is Allergan. So yes, I did do Cool Sculpting, and then I've sold like peptides and GLPs like semaglutide and tirzepatide with a local compounding pharmacy.
Right, yeah.
So kind of have done everything. If you walk into a med spa, most of the main procedures that you'd find and you'd pay for there, I've had some part in or sold something. So I know a lot about a little.
When you were saying the Allergan and stuff, it reminded me of the Cool Sculpting. Did I tell you that I went in Westlake and Dr. Nicolaitis was talking to me about just like the industry as a whole, and he said, he was like, yeah, you remember Cool Sculpting? And he was like, nobody's doing that anymore. Yeah. Because of like all the Ozempics and stuff like that.
I think it's being done to like spot treat maybe after like specific areas if you lose a bunch of weight.
But the machines aren't just like blowing and going anymore like they were.
It's more about like skin tightening now because GLPs have kind of taken over.
And there's nothing great for that, right?
You know, there's a few devices that help minimally, but other than surgery, you know, it's nothing that would be like a wow factor result.
Right. I know. Because I went in and was talking to him about skin tightening just after babies and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do a tummy tuck. I don't want. I was like, unless they could do like a mini, and so he put Radiesse in mine.
Yeah, and Radiesse can work really well.
Yeah, I mean, it right away. I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. All I had to do was this, and then I think I think I've gotten used to it. But I mean, also like sometimes when I even I lose a lot of weight, you can see it.
Yeah, the Radiesse.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. So I probably just needed it full. But I don't want
surgery is the best option to have it look great.
I wish there was a laser. I would do any of the laser stuff if it fixed it. I don't want a new belly button. It grosses me out. Yeah. Okay. So wait, so before I ask you the rest of the questions, did you have to sign an NDA with any of these companies?
No.
When you left there?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't want to... You know, there's been a few like non-competes that I've had to sign as far as like not working for a direct competitor within a certain amount of time in a certain region, but as far as like not disclosing, as sales reps, we're not really told a lot until it's public knowledge. We're maybe told a few hours before something happens.
I didn't know like if you couldn't tell about things about working there.
No. Well,
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Allergan didn't make you sign something like that.
No, they didn't. No.
That's good. Okay, so then we can talk about it.
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
What do you think so Allergan and Merz, at least when I was in the industry, was the two biggest, obviously, injectables. What do you think the biggest difference between those two companies are as far as like the employee side, like working for them?
Well, I mean, I think everybody, and when we worked together 6, 7, 8 years ago, when you were more of like my customer, I think there were really only 2 or 3 customers or 2 or 3 big companies in the market. It's Galderma, Allergan, and Merz. And Allergan's like the big behemoth in the room. They have such a huge portfolio. They have Skin Medica, which is a really high-end skincare line. They have Cool Sculpting. They have something called Kybella, which is a fat dissolver. They have Juvederm, which is a whole line of fillers. They have Botox. And then they're part of AbbVie, which is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Mm-hmm. So they are like breast implants, like they have skin grafting tissue companies, and they keep acquiring other companies. I'm surprised they don't have a laser yet, but anyway, they're the biggest in the space. And I think Galderma's second biggest. They have the same amount of fillers. They have a toxin called Dysport. They have a skincare line. They have, I think, Cetaphil. Mm-hmm. They have Alastin. So they've bought a lot of products too, but nowhere near the size of AbbVie and Allergan. And Merz is kind of like the little sister, the little cousin. They have a few product lines. They have a device. They have a skincare line, but they're nowhere near the size of the other two. And I think working for a huge pharmaceutical company like Allergan or an AbbVie, you're just micromanaged a lot more. They expect, I think, a lot more. They have meetings on meetings to, I'm sure people fly down to meet their big customers and roll out the red carpet and dinners and training programs, whereas Merz was a little more, lack of a better word, chill. Like, it was just more like, to take Allergan and have growth in your territory as a sales rep is a lot harder than to get one account with Merz, which is a smaller account. You can grow a lot quicker because you start with such a smaller part of the pie.
Right. Mm-hmm. But like you said, with the micromanaging, it's like all the different departments. I just feel like in my head, Allergan, like behind the scenes, they were just like always like brewing. Like, I mean, it was like something. I mean, I'll never forget the day that they said I was going to have a meeting with my rep, and then like 8 people get out of like a black SUV.
Suburban, yeah.
And they're like...
The mafia.
Yeah. And they were like, we need to talk. And I was like, oh, great. This is an ambush. And I remember even like my packing girls that were packing back there, I was like, come sit in. I just need people to come sit in here. And so...
And people on your side.
But that was when they were like, I feel like at the peak. Like there wasn't as much competition. And they could get away with probably more.
Totally.
That's right when you started.
Yeah, that was right when I started. I was like, what am I walking into? But yeah, I mean, with a company as big as Allergan, with as many products as they have, it's so important to make your customers happy, because one big loss is a huge loss to so many people involved that get a paycheck off of your business.
Yeah. Do you know the current reps in those areas?
Some of them, yeah. I mean, I think the average life of a rep is 2.2 years in aesthetics now. Used to be people would stay 10, 12, 15 years, but now there's so much competition. It's a burnout role. I think I talk to probably people every week that want to get into aesthetics and aesthetic sales. And I remember when I got into it, you're like, are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. And now I'm the one saying, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's gotten so competitive, and to hit your number every month is a miracle from God. So, yeah.
And it's a big difference between hitting it and not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a mortgage.
Right. So that's crazy. Well, so now you're doing the new one. So how's that going?
Good. So
I got it for the first time.
Yeah? What did you think?
I think they're all kind of the same.
We're at a point now in medical aesthetics where neurotoxins, which is like the fancy name for Botox or wrinkle reducer, we're at a point in the industry where it's just like allergy medication. Some people like Zyrtec, some people like Xyzal, some people like Claritin or Benadryl. They all have like the same mechanism of action. They all work. Some people like others, some injectors like others. Some are paired with a loyalty program, so you get some money off. Some are cheaper. Some say they last 4 months. Some say they last 3. They're all pretty much the same. Right. And I think that's why big companies that have had the market share, like an Allergan or a Galderma, are trying to think of creative ways to keep the pricing what it is, but give the patient a little bit more maybe filler or discounts in other services that they provide so they can keep their hold on the market share. But our product, Latibo, which is the newest toxin to come to America from South Korea, has been around 15 years. It's studied. It has, I think, 40 million vials have been sold globally. It's in 70 plus countries. There's over 30 studies showing its efficacy. It's not a new product, it's just new to the US. And in the next 3 years, there'll be 3 more toxins coming. So you'll have 9 to choose from. So it's just like allergy medication.
Right.
They all work.
Right. How are like physicians and stuff, are they like responding to bringing in the new one?
Good. We've only been out 9 months and we've sold, I think it's public knowledge, we've sold over 100,000 vials and over $25 million in 8 months we've launched. So the pricing is very comparable to the other toxins, and it can be also cheaper for offices to bring it on, because Botox is a premium. It has the name brand, it's the Kleenex brand, it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
The other ones are a little bit cheaper, so providers may offer it a little bit cheaper. So we've been doing great. It just takes time to learn how to inject a new product. It works great. It's probably too deep or too much information, but it doesn't spread like other products do. Like where you put it is where it stays. If you look at South Korean anatomy, like everything's just tighter. In the West we have more surface area, is a nice way of saying it. So it is a very, I'm trying to think of the right word, accurate toxin. So where you put it, it does not move. And so if you're not putting enough pokes in your forehead, you might recruit other muscles, so it might mask the result. But if you're making enough pokes and you are using the toxin, knowing that it is really accurate toxin, it's going to work great.
And it's probably better for some areas too.
Yeah, for sure. Some off-label areas where you really don't want it to spread. Yeah.
DAOs, yeah.
Exactly.
I know. That's
so
actually good.
I would think, everyone should try, just like allergy medication, try what works. If you go to an injector that really loves 1 or 2 injectables and that's what they're good at, trust their judgment. But I think in the United States, we've opened thousands and thousands of accounts, so people are definitely liking it. And everyone loves South Korean skincare in general, so there's no reason why the number 1 South Korean injectable product is not taking off at the same rate. Yeah.
Did you think it was going to take off more?
I thought it was going to take off quicker, but I think the other companies, they have the search terms, they have like the search engine optimization, they have the social media presence, they have the time and money to combat the noise that we're making. So it's happening. It's just, I think other companies are really wise and they don't want to lose market share, so they're dumping in a lot of money and time to try and combat it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
For sure.
What else are you surprised it's taken off in the industry?
I'm surprised how quickly, I'm not surprised it took off, but I'm surprised how quickly it's gone from plumping to like more natural and more
dissolving.
Yeah, more dissolving, more wellness, more natural, more I don't want anyone to know what I'm getting done. Whereas 5 years ago, it was give me the biggest lips you have possible, or give me the most sculpted jawline, or even with Brazilian butt lifts from a plastic surgery standpoint, like give me the biggest curves, and you see like the Kardashian family, slimming down, or you see people dissolving their lips. You see like Versace and Demi Moore and Lindsay Lohan having more like surgical procedures instead of filling.
Right.
So, and then I think with the GLPs and with weight loss, you have people completely slimming down.
Right.
And it's not about the voom anymore. It's more about how natural you can look and how youthful and happy you can look instead of how overdone and rich you look.
Right.
If that makes sense. I'm not surprised that happens because it's a pendulum and things go back and forth in beauty and trends, but I'm surprised how quickly that happened. And I think also a lot of people we're in a weird time in the economy. A lot of people just can't afford to look overdone anymore because it's expensive to get these procedures.
No, and everybody was like getting really plumped up.
Yes.
COVID, when they had nothing to do.
And government checks coming.
That's interesting. I didn't think about it like the fact that like GLPs, everyone's like slimming down and they're like getting filler, dissolved. It's like everything is like slimming down.
And I think with GLPs are not cheap. Are you spending $400 or $500 a month to slim down, or are you going to spend $400 or $500 a month to plump up?
Yeah.
And it's obvious someone's going to spend that money slimming down versus doing something to their face when they can do something holistically for their whole body. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone this past weekend about it too, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't think the big butts are in anymore."
No.
And
mm-hmm.
I was like, "Are they out?" I didn't know that. And they were like, "Yeah, I think everyone's just slimming down. The big butts aren't anymore." I was like,
for sure.
I'm fine with that because I never had curves. But, like, what happened to the Kate Moss look? That's what
I think that's back. I think that's coming back.
Good. Yeah. You just had to wait it out.
Eva
Longoria?
Evangelista and the 90s models, I think look is definitely more in.
You're coming back, yeah.
For sure.
Now I'm getting older. How old are you now?
I'll be 37.
37.
So,
oh, okay. Yeah, you're older than I thought you were. And so, like, we had talked about you had been in the industry forever, and so I remember, and so we worked together right when you got in the industry.
Yeah,
and
I was
so
20. I think I just turned 26 or 27. Yeah.
And I owned the practices, and you came in as the alligator.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, ready to go, and I was on the way out. I was like, I don't. And you would try to get us to do all this stuff, and I'd be like, you can do it, Brian. I'm not doing any work on this. I'm out. I'm on the way out. And so, obviously, we've talked about it before, but how was it being like a young, handsome guy in the industry coming into these offices? So did people think, I always said this, I would either figured people would be hitting on you or think you're gay. So
yeah, it's definitely one of those two. And when I get hit on, it's just always, well, I think it's funny because when I walk in, I can tell like all the women in the office, like it's very rare that a man walks in.
Right.
And so it's like, everyone's super nice and everyone's super friendly. And so I've gotten asked out a few times in offices.
Well, I'm sure about the girls that like work there and stuff because it's all like estheticians and nurses and girls and stuff. And
and I would say my job is a lot easier than girls in my job because there's every rep is typically a female in this role. If it's a skincare rep, I mean, sure, there's some guys, but for the most part,
that's true. Yeah.
There's not too many guys, and there's 100 some women calling on your offices. So I do think my job was easier as a male in this role, and I've really tried not to date people in accounts. I have, but that just never really ends well. So,
like, who do you date? Like the owners of it, or you date like the estheticians?
Like some estheticians, some like front desk staff that are usually, a little younger, or like the first person that I'm meeting in the office.
Are you like, don't tell?
What?
Do you tell them not to tell that y'all went out?
Yeah.
You're very political, a politician about it.
Yeah, because it is my work
right.
space, and you don't want to make it awkward, and you want to be just professional, and sometimes it's hard to do that when you're dating someone.
So do they end up telling? I'm
sure, yes. And then I hardly ever go into that office again.
Yeah.
Probably lose the business. I think that too, like people in the industry, it is kind of like a high school. I mean, all the offices know all the other offices, all the managers move around, all the injectors move around. Just like the reps. Like I've worked for a bunch of different companies, other reps move around to other companies. So you want to be careful to not date a lot of people. Right. But I don't know where I'm going to meet my future wife. If I'm working like all day in these offices, like obviously there's going to be some connections made, and there have been. And so I, try and do it professionally. I think I've done well with that.
Well, I saw you out a couple weeks ago, and you said it was a first date with someone in the industry, right?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It went well. We're still talking. I think a lot of times, a lot of women in this industry, I used to just assume we're a certain way. This probably sounds bad, but just being candid and honest, I used to think that women in this industry were all self-involved and cared about their looks too much, and I kind of never wanted to date women in this industry because of my preconceived ideas about that. But as I've dated in this industry, the more I found that there's a lot of great people. There's a lot of very wholesome women.
Sure.
There's a lot of, but you have that idea. It kind of like you can't judge a book by its cover. And I have learned that, throughout the years that there have been great women that I've dated in this industry for sure.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question on your favorite topic here about the women in the industry, and then we'll go on to the men's aesthetics. Okay. All right, just tell us, if you can, your craziest story with like someone hitting on you in one of the offices that you're willing to spill.
So I was a Cool Sculpting rep. And obviously if you know what Cool Sculpting is, it's basically a body procedure where you freeze fat in certain areas of your body, and there's some intimate areas that you can freeze. And as a man, like, it's a little bit, it's just awkward, for lack of a better word. And there was a woman that I was training on, and I was teaching the staff how to work the device. And you have it's just a little awkward. You're measuring the fat around really personal parts of your body. And I think she was interested, and she gave me her number after and wanted to meet me later. And it just, it was a little crazier than that, but like she definitely wanted to go on a date, and I had to keep it professional. But she was very adamant that I go on a date with her after. She invited me over, and I'll leave it there. But
no, let's not. Wait, did you go?
You
went.
I did go, but nothing came from that.
Really? Why?
I mean, I think it's I don't even know how to talk about this. We definitely had like a nice time, but like, meaning it did not go anywhere
like
after that.
Okay, she didn't become your girlfriend.
No.
Okay.
But I would say that, and then a lot of events pre-COVID, I would say there were a lot of events that med spas would hold, and it would be like the one night of the year where you'd get like 25% off of like fillers, and so you have all the reps there, and they are behind like a booth and talk about their products, and all the guests and stuff come and purchase products for the whole year. And so I was generally one of the only guy reps at those events, and so I think, again, like, there's not many guy reps, and so a lot of women will kind of filter through all of the reps, and I'm the only guy, and so like get to chit-chatting. And there were a few, I would say, older women, maybe 20 years older than me, that would leave me their number, and there was a period of my life where I really liked older women in my late 20s, and so they taught me some things.
Okay. So you would go out with the older women?
I would.
I didn't know this.
Yes, just a few.
Like the patients?
The patients, yes.
Okay.
The patients. I mean, because you're meeting hundreds of.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how those events are. You're meeting hundreds
of
women, and a lot.
How
of
would they give
beautiful.
You their number? They would like write it down.
Oh yeah,
write
it down. Ask me for mine. A lot of old school. Just write it on a napkin and give it to me. And
then you'd be like, hey.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, I was your Botox rep. Just, I'm in the area, and us reps are getting drinks after, and a lot of them would come out and hang out, and I sound like super promiscuous. But,
oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see pictures after this. I'm dying.
But not like date, but just like get to know older women, and I feel like we have a lot to talk about. Like, I'm in the industry, like they clearly are interested in products, and a lot of them were good. It was a good conversation.
It was good for business.
Yeah, oh God, exactly.
Okay, all right. Well, those were good ones.
Yeah. I probably overshared.
No, you did not. You did not. It was perfect amount of sharing. We could go more, but I'll let you off the hook.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go on to the male part now.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a couple of years ago. I think it's definitely advanced with men's aesthetics. But what's interesting is last weekend, this like literally like a few days ago, I was talking to like a guy that's in his 50s, and like I assume has gotten Botox because his forehead isn't super wrinkly, but it's like you can still see some, but it's not super wrinkly. And so I said something like, "Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure you've gotten Botox," and like he's in an industry where he has to be in front of like cameras and stuff, and so duh, and he was like really embarrassed to tell me
that he got Botox.
Yeah, and literally said that was one of the only people he's ever told that he got really? Botox, and I was like, why? And I was like, I think that's like the old man in you, like
totally.
Yeah, and I was like, I think that's why I was like, you know, you have like a 6-pack and like work out all day long, and like you're embarrassed to get Botox. It's taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
like it's just not letting yourself go. So I think it's the same. He's like, I haven't thought of it like that. But I was like, I had thought that Botox is just such a widespread known thing that like there would be a little shame around it anymore.
Yeah, I think there is for men, for sure. When I started, I was 26 when I started in this industry. I'll be 37. So over the past decade, when I started, about 8 or 9% of the injectable industry were men. And now it's almost 20%. So in 10 years, it's doubled. But I think even though more people are doing it, more men are doing it, I think it still hasn't emotionally shifted. I think men still are a little embarrassed.
Because I think it's feminine?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, if a lot of men use GLPs, but you're sticking yourself with something, like you're using a GLP, I think it's just looked at as very feminine and very vain, and those aren't, you know, being vain is probably not a masculine quality. And I think that a lot of men just want to make it look like they're as natural as possible. But as I get older and men know that I'm in this industry that I'm friends with, I do get a lot more texts, a lot more calls. Like, what kind, you know, where do you go to get Botox? How many times a year do I do it? They just don't know. A lot of men don't know like the right protocol or the right people to go to or the right questions to ask when they go.
Right.
So a lot in the last decade of men have asked me who I'm friends with, you know, all those questions. And I think that it's nice for them to have a friend like me because I'm able to tell them incognito what to do or what I see a lot of men doing.
What do you tell them?
I mean, I think a lot of men think, I start doing Botox and I have to do it 4 times a year because that's what my girlfriend does, or, you know, I'm going to look crazy or I'm going to look fake. Like, I get Botox or a neurotoxin once a year, maybe twice a year, and I think that's more than enough for a guy, because I think for men, I can't speak for all men, but for a lot of men, you just want to look a little more rested, and if you can limit the wrinkles on your face and the movement on your face for 3 to 4 months out of the year, you're going to age, you know, 3 or 4 months slower than if you hadn't done it. It's not like you have to have this regimen and do it every year or every 3 or 4 months. You can do it once or twice a year around your birthday. So that's kind of what I tell some of my friends that are in their 30s or 40s is just do it around your birthday or the holidays once a year. And you're going to retain some of that youthful skin, especially in your forehead. And I tell a lot of men, and injectors would know this more than me, but I think crow's feet on guys, like I like my crow's feet. I think it's a dead giveaway when guys have Botox if their smile looks a little funny or their forehead's way too tight or they don't have any wrinkles. Like keep your crow's feet. You know, just do the area that bothers you the most. Maybe it's in between your eyes, maybe it's your forehead. But if you just do, you know, once a year, you're not going to look overdone.
Right.
I think there's plenty of time for filler when you're in your 50s or 60s as a man. If you aren't going to get a facelift, and I think in your 50s and 60s you can do things like Sculptra or Radiesse, which are biostimulants, and they kind of correct some of the collagen loss and encourage your body to create more collagen in spaces that kind of look a little deflated. But it's kind of a double-edged sword for guys, because if you're working out a ton and you said that guy you were talking to has a 6-pack and you have muscles. Well, you're making a lot of guys don't realize like how many faces you're making in the gym. Like you're scrunching your face, and you're creating volume loss in your face. And so yeah, your body could look fantastic, but you want your face to kind of match.
Yeah.
And so I think, and if guys are totally happy with the way they look, of course you don't have to do anything. But if you really want your body to, all the work you're doing in the gym to match your face, we live in a great time where there's a lot of modalities that you can use to better your facial appearance. And so Botox, and then I'm a big believer in like microneedling. Microneedling's been around forever. There's a million studies on it. It's not really invasive at all, and it tightens your skin and makes you have a youthful glow for months afterward. And those two treatments, I think, can do like wonders for your skin for men. And it's not like a lot of downtime. No one's going to know you did it, and it can give you really nice results. And then just a simple like skincare routine, a simple cleanser and a retinol and a moisturizer. Like, don't keep it like this complex thing that you're dreading to do every night. It should be a minute and a half, 2 minutes before you go to bed and when you wake up, and it can also do wonders for you. I think a lot of men get freaked out when they see their girlfriend's laundry list of skincare items she has on the back of the toilet or the vanity. I guess that's true. That's I didn't have much counter space when I started this industry, but I guess that's good. You, as a man, you should be able to put all the stuff you use on the back of a toilet. So keep it simple. But I think that a lot of men get a little intimidated by like a cleanser and a retinol and a cream and a mask and all this stuff. No, just one or two things. Ask your dermatologist or your med spa, like, what are easy things where I can keep it simple that will help my aging process, and they'll tell you exactly what to use.
Yeah, because I think either men get carried away and they think they have to use it all, and then they try to, or they use nothing, which is also, it's like you can just do the medium, like put a moisturizer and sunscreen on, whatever, something.
How do you feel about like beef tallow?
Beef tallow?
Beef tallow.
Someone asked me this the other day, and I had to actually look it up because I didn't know what they were talking about.
I feel like that not only is a trend, but I feel like it's really good for men's skin. Like, I'm not a clinical guy, but like, I started using beef tallow as like a moisturizer.
You did.
And I've noticed like a huge change in my skin.
Do you have like super dry skin?
Well, when I go to like Denver, or when I go like up to Wisconsin where I'm from, yes. In Austin, no.
Doesn't it kind of make you greasy?
It does. It doesn't.
Oh, you like it?
At night.
Okay.
Not in the morning. Just at night.
Oh, okay. You put
as
it on
a moisturizer.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, like you're probably like grossed out, but it works so well.
I mean, anything that works so well, I don't get grossed out about.
Yeah,
I mean,
it works really well.
The word beef tallow to me is like a bit much, but I mean,
my dog's like. Smells like me, I'm pretty sure, but it doesn't smell like it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No. And if you get like a premium one, I'm a fan. I wasn't gonna admit that, but
what does it look like?
It's just like a whipped butter. It looks like a whipped butter. And
in my head, it was almost like coconut oil. Like it's just like a.
No, the consistency I would say is like a whipped butter for sure. I don't know. Maybe people will comment and say that that's like the worst thing to put on your skin, but it's helped a lot.
Your skin's great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah.
I mean,
tallow.
I don't want to put beef on my face, but I'm not judging anyone who does.
I get it.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's what I've used.
You've been using?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
like
get you on something
year.
else.
Yeah.
we're gonna do some comparison studies here and see. What do you think that like social media and like the celebrity influence? You think that's played a big part in like the shift in men's aesthetics?
I think it honestly probably has been more detrimental than helpful.
Right. I know. I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, I know Zac Efron says that he had like a jaw procedure, but like you see some people that like just have gone overboard with their jawline or filler. I mean, like Simon Cowell. Like there's certain celebrities where you see it before and after and you're like, whoa. And I think it's just more obvious in men because I think a lot of men do a little bit, but it's the few men that do a lot that you see posted everywhere, and it's like, wow, I don't want to look like that.
Right.
When in reality, like, a lot of my male friends have gotten Botox, like I said, once a year, or a little filler, somewhere either in their temples or in their jaw, and they look great, and you never notice. But I think it's those people that I mentioned that you see it, and a bunch of men are completely turned off by ever stepping foot in a med spa or even using skincare because it's looked at as overdone or girly or not masculine enough, and they just will never enjoy like the benefits of doing like a microneedling procedure.
Well, and that's what I tell people too. I'm like, look at the people that look like that, like you said, Simon Cowell and some of these old, and I was like, it's because they waited too long.
Yeah.
And like now they got to fix a big problem, and
Sure.
so like the only way to kind of give them something is to just fill it all in. Now they look weird. I was like, if you do a little bit as you go, just preserve what you have, then you're not going to look like that.
And I don't think you notice good work. Like, you notice bad work.
Right.
You don't notice good work.
Exactly.
But I think if filler in general has been looked at, I think they call it filler fatigue, where Americans are just kind of over filler because of how overdone it looks now. And I think that would be true for men as well, and women.
Well, and I mean, the filler's just lasting so much longer.
Yeah.
I was talking about this last time I was talking with Vanessa, but I mean, honestly, I don't think I've had my cheeks done since you were Allergan rep.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I got it done like twice, like 2 consecutive years, and I think it's just lasted.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had filler other places, but I haven't had it like where I thought every 2 years I'd have to go in and, it lasts 2 years, but I think it's just lasting a lot longer than.
And I think companies it's at the end of the day, it's a drug. It's a pharmaceutical drug. They want you to go back to get more of it.
And they don't want to do a 10-year study.
Right.
They don't want to wait 10 years to go out. But I think it's lasting a lot longer, which is good in some areas,
Yeah.
But I don't think that's also why people got so overfilled, is because it didn't go away in 2 years.
Exactly.
And you just start looking at yourself. So I like the more natural and not so plumped up look.
Me too.
It was starting to just become too much.
It was, and I think because there's so many more med spas that have popped up, there's so many more injectors, that if you don't like that an injector doesn't want to treat you, then you'll just go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And then I explained it to people, like, you have a house that you buy and you put wallpaper on 1 year, and then 2 years later you don't like the way the wallpaper looks, so you paint over it, and then 2 years later you have a baby and you make it a nursery and then you paint over that. What was the original wall? What did that look like? And if you're going around to different injectors, no one knows what your original face looked like, and you're just painting or injecting over someone else's work, and that's when stuff starts looking good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, I was about to ask you something else about the fillers. Oh, yeah, so, like, do you know the statistics as, like, for, like, Allergan and stuff, like, when you were there and, like, COVID time and right afterwards, was that, like, the peak? Has it dropped? Like,
yes, I think there's some med spas that were among some of the biggest filler users in the U.S. that have seen like a 20 to 30% decrease in filler.
But like with Allergan as a whole, like, or not Allergan, say, but just injectables as a whole, is injectables down?
HA filler is down.
Okay.
Yeah, so hyaluronic acid filler is down, but other fillers like Sculptra or Radiesse are up that do more than just fill.
Right.
They promote collagen stimulation and elastin growth and like growth factors and all that are up, but the HA filler market is definitely down.
I wonder how those reps did when they got to hit their growth quota.
Oh, I think it's really hard for all of them to hit.
You think they're still hitting numbers off growth?
I think that they're changing. I think every quarter these companies redevelop their commission strategy so that reps don't leave, and it's kind of like the golden handcuffs where no, they're not hitting their numbers, but they're making it so that they're still making decent money so that they don't leave.
Yeah, because I remember when we were they were like, we got to grow, we have to grow the numbers, got to grow, I mean, at some point you're like, we can't grow anymore.
Yeah.
And so now if it's dropping, then there's really a problem. There's no growth in the.
And I think like back in the day, I'd say back in the day, like 8 years ago, there was only Juvederm and Restylane. Now there's 7, 8, 9 other companies that have their filler line. There's Korean companies coming out with their filler line. Products are being approved in the U.S. that were approved in Asia specifically, and now they're all getting FDA approved for the U.S. So it's less people are doing filler. People are doing filler, aren't doing as much filler. Like let's say 3 years ago they got 2 syringes, now they're doing a half of one. And there's a million other fillers coming out. I think all of that is happening. And there's double the amount of med spas there were 10 years ago. So people have so many more choices to go get product, which brings pricing down for customers, and injectors aren't making as much money, their books aren't full. So it's kind of like this great recession in the med spa. I guess it's just so saturated now.
Which they used to think was like recession proof.
Right.
And I mean, I remember when I started, even in Austin here in 2008, it was kind of, it was a recession, and they said it was a recession proof industry. Yeah, and at the time it was. But then it got, because everyone's going to get Botox, but not everybody's going to get all these extra stuff.
No, and it's a trend. Yeah. Just like retail has trends, facial aesthetics definitely has trends too.
So what do you think, what men's aesthetic procedures do you think that you're going to have done?
Oh.
Like, do you think you're going to do any surgeries or anything?
No, I think in 20 years when that would even be like an option, for me, I think there'll be other so minimally invasive things available. Like you look at, they have like these lower facelifts now that like you see Lindsay Lohan has done, and I'm sure a few other celebrities. I think for men, like I think aging is a different process for men than it is women. So like I probably wouldn't ever do like a surgery. I say that now, but I'm sure things will change a lot in by the time I'm 50 or 60. But I think a lot of it in the next 10 years is going to be about taking care of yourself through medical aesthetics so you can prolong any surgeries. So with like peptides and GLPs aside, like semaglutide aside, I think there's a lot of peptides that do slow the aging process that I'm interested in, especially for men with testosterone and anti-aging properties that peptides like ipamorelin and BCP-157 and copper peptides can really slow down the aging process in men. I'm super interested in that, and I think I want to start kind of researching those more. I think microneedling every year is important, and I think just like the normal Botox twice a year can really prolong a lot of needs for any surgery.
Well, and you have a good head of hair, but like a lot of men don't. I'm really surprised more men don't do.
Like hair transplants?
Like Neograft or one of those. Because it's expensive.
Yeah. A lot of my buddies, I'm B37, a lot of my buddies have either gone to Turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they did? They
did
the whole turkey thing?
Yes. And it was like 10 to 15 grand for everything.
Yeah.
And they all look great.
More people should do that.
Yeah. A lot of that is coming to America now. For a while, I think it was like Turkey that you could go to, and now there's other countries, and now in the U.S. there's a lot of places that do it affordably now. But I think exosomes for hair, injecting like PRP or PRF or lasers and red light therapy, they all are fine for if you're just thinning. But when you start losing it, like hair transplants the way to go. I would totally do that if I lost my hair. But luckily I don't
have like a big
have
crown.
That problem. Yeah.
Terrible. That's one thing that men have that's aging. I feel like facial structure and stuff, like they become more defined.
Yes.
Lose baby fat, and like men end up looking better a lot of times. But the hair thing is like you gotta nip that in the bud.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would do if I lose my hair like in my 40s. I would definitely do a transplant because I think that's the first giveaway. I think for men, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so now you're 37 and you're still single.
Still. Oh God.
So do you think you're going to meet your wife in the industry?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I'd be open to it.
I don't think you are. I think you got to go outside the industry.
I think you're right.
Uh-huh.
I think you're right. So I'll be open to it, but I think you're right. I think you're onto something. I think
maybe, but I mean,
or maybe someone that was in the industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that maybe, or like someone that's like in it now, but they're not, like, this isn't their lifetime goal, or something like that.
That's fair to assume. Yeah. For
So
sure.
you think you're going to settle down anytime soon, or?
You know what? I've always thought 40 for me. Even when I was in my 20s, like I was super focused on my career and super focused on just like moving out of my hometown in Wisconsin and building roots somewhere else. And now that I have roots in Texas, I've always felt 40s will be my settling down decade. Mm-hmm. And I think as a man, I'm lucky that like I don't have a clock or that I have to like do things by, and so I'm going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah. So you think you will one
day
have kids?
Yes,
down?
I'd love to have kids.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that my days are probably numbered in this industry. Mm-hmm. I think it's a young man or young woman's industry.
Yeah,
I think when I met you, I'm at the place you were when I met you, which is like I've liked aesthetics. It's been great, and when people reach out to me and ask, "Oh, I want to get into aesthetics," I'm just almost warn them and say, like, it is a moving target. There's trends, there's companies that come and go. The average life expectancy of a rep in a company is just a little over 2 years. Get ready for like a crazy career. It's great and it was fun, but I definitely think by the time I'm 40, I'll probably take a step out.
Yeah.
For sure, which is interesting because it's like, it's an aging, like the industry is about aging, and yet all these young people are in it.
And it ages you.
Yes, so true. Yes.
It's the opposite. Okay, so we always end the podcast asking, what is your beauty formula? Can be anything.
My beauty formula is this is going to sound so cheesy.
All right, good.
But I think there's nothing more attractive than treating other people really well.
That's good,
treating others how you want to be treated. And sometimes it's hard to do in the beauty industry. People can be a little callous and a little judgmental, but I think my beauty formula would be treating people how you'd want to be treated.
I think that's a good answer. Another politician answer.
Yeah, oh gosh. Maybe politics one
day. Your next career should be a politician.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to The Beauty Formula. If you're loving our show, make sure to leave a review and share it with your friends. Follow us on Instagram at The Beauty Formula Podcast for the latest updates, and head over to our sister store, Harbin House, for all your skincare needs. A big shout out to the Harbin House production team, Allison Turley and Remy Jenkins. See you next time.